Welcome back to the Bobblehead Sports channel. Today we're going to be going over each NBA franchise's GOAT. This is not the best player who ever played for them. This is their GOAT. You know, LeBron is not here for the Heat, even though he was the best player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right. We'll start off with the first guy on our list, who's the GOAT for the Pelicans, who haven't had a very storied time in the NBA, but it's Anthony Davis. He played there for 7 seasons, made 6 All-Star teams, and his averages were 24, 10, and 2.5 blocks with 1.5 steals. Great stats, but no silverware to back it up.
I just looking at all these other legends here. I think we got to put AD and D. AD at his peak on the Pelicans was probably a better individual player than some of these guys, but like he didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It wasn't
it's
his fault. He was on the Pelicans,
not really
but
his fault,
still.
but he's still a really good player, and hey, he's doing things with the Lakers now. All-Star.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the Clippers GOAT, Bob McAdoo. He was only there for 5 years when it was the Buffalo Braves. But those 5 years were some of the best in NBA history. 4 All-Star teams, and in his best season, he averaged about 34 and a half, 14 rebounds, and 2 blocks and a steal. So when he was there, he was dominant, including winning an MVP.
I think I gotta put this Plumber Merchant maybe right next to AD.
Well,
Plumber
he's
Merchant, man.
above AD because he won that MVP and Rookie of the Year. I feel
But
like
he's
that's
playing
enough
against
to.
plumbers though.
Yes, but it's enough to put. I think it's enough to put him over AD. I'd be putting him low C
I'm fine with low C, honestly.
because he might be old, but man, he was cooking. He was cooking back in the day when your grandparents were
God,
watching. Man,
I wonder how much LeBron would have averaged in the
man,
70s.
he was him. Next up, we got someone everyone knows. Dirk Nowitzki spent his entire career with Dallas, and well, he put up stats. 14-time All Star, 2011 NBA champ and Finals MVP, 12-time All NBA, and an MVP. I mean, getting the only championship in Mavericks history is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it was a very impressive championship too, beating what was at the time the biggest super team we'd probably ever seen in the Miami Heat. And it was against Dwyane Wade, his biggest rival, who had beaten him in 2006. So it's a very impressive
I
championship.
think it is a very good championship. Automatically, I think the championship, including the MVP, puts him above Bob McAdoo. I think the longevity on the Mavericks, I would be putting him IB. Like,
Yeah, I think
he just
High B is
spent
good.
so much time there, made them good for so long.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. Next up, for the Magic, this one's a bit more, you could say, controversial. Obviously, Shaq and Penny Hardaway were up in the conversation, but I've went with Dwight Howard. 8 seasons in Orlando. He was really good there. He made 6 All-Star teams. He led his team to the finals where they lost to Kobe. Um, but he was the defensive player of the year there. I mean, he was a menace. One of the best centers we've ever seen in his prime, which was with the Magic. I mean, grabbing boards and averaging 3 blocks per game. I mean, wow.
Dwight Howard was the new Shaq. After Orlando lost Shaq, they needed a new generational big man, and they got him. I think we should give our resident Magic fan a bit of a chance to speak on this because I've heard that Magic fans don't like Dwight Howard that much anymore.
You see, I've also heard this recently, actually, as somebody who's new to the sport of basketball. Look, I might be a Magic fan. I haven't been here that long. But, like, yeah, they do hate the motherfucker. But with a bitch when he left. Alright?
He did make a bit of a fussball leaving.
Yeah, he did. And
I do think the lack of an MVP makes me want to put him below Bob McAdoo.
yeah, I think below by McAdoo is fine.
But, like,
I think it's the finals appearance that's getting him
very
up there at this
close.
point. Because you can't fault losing to Kobe, who will be on this list and will be an S tier. I'm just gonna spoil that. You know.
Well, next up, Aiden, we've got one of your goats. Dwyane Wade for the Miami Heat. Spent basically his whole career there, besides 2 years where
We don't talk about those years.
1.5 years
that
where he
never
wasn't
happened, right?
really great. But besides that, 13-time All-Star, scoring champ, 3-time NBA champion, 8 times All-NBA. He made the All-Rookie team and third in Rookie of the Year voting, only because that was a ridiculous fucking draft class. And the Finals MVP to go with it. Dwyane Wade to the Heat. When you think Heat, you think Dwyane Wade.
Dwyane Wade is the godfather of the Miami Heat as much as Pat Riley is, you know? Pat Riley would have never had the success he has at Miami if he had never been able to draft Dwyane Wade. Thank you, Detroit Pistons. We'll always appreciate you for picking Darko.
Yeah, they took the sacrifice so the Nuggets and Heat could get their guys.
Listen, man, I'm biased, right? But oh boy, don't get me started on D Wade, man.
Players of all time. I'm gonna go low A.
That's exactly where I was gonna put him, man.
I
love me some D Wade. I mean, how many players do you know recruited LeBron James to join his team?
You can say that 2 of those chips were carried by LeBron or whatever, but Dwyane Wade wasn't sitting back and letting LeBron do all the job.
You have to remember, in 2011, if the Heat win, D Wade's getting Finals MVP on the same team as LeBron James.
Next up, we've got another one of my top 5 favorite players of all time. Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Spent his entire career with the Rockets besides his last year, but we don't talk about that. He's just 12-time All-Star, led the league in blocks 3 times, led the league in rebounds 2 times, 2-time champ. Both those chips were without Michael Jordan in the league, but it's still 2 championships. 12-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive, 2 times Finals MVP, and a regular season MVP. Hakeem, when you think Rockets, you think Hakeem. Hakeem is synonymous with the Rockets at this point. I'd be having him in A tier.
Honestly, I don't like to bring hypotheticals in this, but I do believe if Michael Jordan didn't exist, he'd have like 4 or 5 championships.
Oh, I feel like he would have been the 90s, like Jordan's known as, because, man, he was
so good.
And those last 3 years, when Jordan came back and he got Charles Barkley, and they kept coming up just short, if Jordan wasn't there, I think they'd win those chips quite easily. I think they'd beat that Jazz team.
Hakeem could have ended with like 5 championships, like 4 MVPs. He was awesome. And I think just because he didn't get the counting stats because he played in the same era as Michael Jordan, I'm probably going to put him high A. Maybe the lowest in S, man. I'm thinking about it.
He was that fan of him, but
he was good enough to be an S. He just got unlucky with who he had to play against.
Yeah. He's known as, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, the greatest defensive player in NBA history.
And Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year over him, but we don't talk about that.
Bit of a fraudulent one, but hey. Next up, we've got our first guy who's still playing this day on the franchise he was drafted with, Giannis. Been there since 2013, and he's put together a really nice career that's still not over. 7-time, well, actually, we've just, as we're recording this video, it'll move up to 8-time All-Star, champion, and we'll expect him to get another All-NBA to make it 8. 2-time MVP, 5-time All-Defensive, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP. He's been... I don't think he's S yet, because the career's not done.
I think you could put him in A.
The career's not done yet, and I would argue either side of Hakeem.
I'm good with him between Hakeem and D Wade because I think Hakeem was just a better player than Giannis was. He just got lucky. You know what I mean?
He was really. He was someone.
Giannis got lucky enough that when he entered his prime, LeBron was exiting his prime.
LeBron was exiting his prime, and yeah, the
And Steph
Warriors
Curry's
dynasty
super
was
teams
falling
were
off.
slowing down.
Next up, we've got another one of the legends of the game, Dominique Wilkins. He spent the large majority of his career as the guy for the Hawks. Again, probably overshadowed a lot in his best years by Jordan winning all those chips. I mean, Hall of Famer, he's 9-time All-Star, scoring champion, 7-time All-NBA. He doesn't have the hardware of a lot of people on this list, but he has the counting stats. I mean, his best season he averaged 38, 2, and 2. I mean, he's 12 seasons with Atlanta, and when you think Atlanta, you think him. He is one of the best dunkers of all time. He's crazy.
I mean, he was fantastic, and I would just like to point out, right? He did win the Euro League, all right, after the NBA. So
Hey,
Jordan
he's
never
crazy
did
with it.
that.
He's
Jordan never
crazy
won
with
the
it.
Euro League. But no, I think I'm probably gonna stick him. Maybe
I just don't think he's
probably
good. I don't think he's as good as Dirk.
no. I'd probably put him above Bob McAdoo in C.
In C. Ooh, I'd say low B, but I'll go with C.
Well, when we get more people in here, we might move him. You know what I mean?
Next up, we got another one of the legends. This is the GOAT of the Trailblazers. This was another close one because obviously Dame has had a great career there, but Clyde the Glide Drexler, Hall of Famer. Just he was crazy with the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers don't have that much of a history, but he spent 12 seasons there. He made 8 All-Star games. He won a chip, but that was on the Rockets, so we cannot count that.
Yeah.
But it was one of my favorite players to watch. He is just graceful, dunking it. Just wow, he was amazing to watch.
That's why they call him the Glide. You know what I mean?
He is. I just think that the lack of he never won an MVP or a MVP
was also
or a
never
chip. Like,
yeah, he has one All NBA first team. I mean,
I think he's
awesome
below.
career, but like he ain't
he's
better
either
than
side
Bob
of.
McAdoo. You know what I mean?
I think that's probably. I think he's did more than Dwight Howard did for the Magic, but like it's. Yeah. Next up, we got another one of the legends, Isiah Thomas. He spent his entire career with the Pistons. 12-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion, Finals MVP, assist champion, 5-time All-NBA, and loved to perform in the All-Star game, 2-time All-Star MVP.
Him.
I just think he's known, again, he's probably lucky that his prime came just before Jordan got good, so he got his in and he got his 2 chips, and even when Jordan was cooking in the early 90s, I mean, Isiah Thomas was still putting up all-star caliber seasons.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to beat Jordan right before Jordan had those stacked rosters, and he was giving Jordan a whooping. You know what I mean? He was just you don't got anybody.
And that was
I
a
got this
nice
stacked
thing
Pistons
too.
team. I'm gonna beat
Pistons
you, and there's nothing you
teams,
can do about it.
bad boy Pistons teams with Joe DeMars and Bill Laimbeer. I mean, they were nasty and hard to beat because they were so physical. They just bullied Jordan, kept going at Jordan and hard fouling Jordan, and it worked. And they got 2 chips out of it.
Adam Silver, bring it back. Bring that back, Adam Silver.
I just think he's such a big name in NBA history. He's at least B tier. I would argue the extra chip puts him above Dirk.
Yeah, I'd put him above Dirk. I mean, just the 2 chips. I know he only has 1 Finals MVP, but he was also Jordan's daddy for a couple of years, and I think that puts him in B. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, he was dominant. Next up, we've got Jason. We got Jason Kidd, who is the Nets GOAT. The Nets, again, they're not a very storied franchise. Brook Lopez was looking at possibly taking this spot. Maybe Richard Jefferson, but I've decided to go with Jason Kidd. He spent 7 seasons with the Nets. He was, again, he's kind of known. He's a little bit of Chris Paul before Chris Paul. He dished out assists. In his 7 seasons with the Nets, he made 5 All-Star teams, but really not much else. Couple defensive teams, couple assist champions. What about we get our Jason Kidd super fan to talk on this?
I don't know what super fan, dog. I know a thing or two. I've watched a video or two, and I know his name. I don't know what super fan, dog.
Where do you think he ranks?
Low C.
Low C.
I was gonna put him in F, but
I was gonna
Like-
put him low D.
I was being generous.
that might just be
I'm thinking
he
low
just-
D.
no MVPs, no rings,
He just
only
kind
like
of
5
didn't.
All-Stars.
Next up, we've got the Jazz GOAT, which is probably man we can't mention, but because we can't mention
Yeah.
him, we're gonna go with John Stockton. The best passer of all time, the unbeatable assist record. He was passing to one of the best scorers of all time, but like he spent his entire very long career with the Jazz. Never won a chip, but 9-time assist champion, 10-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA. I think the counting stats amazing, but no
That's-
MVPs
that-
and no
The assist
rings.
record is so crazy, though. I mean,
And I feel like he's most known, besides his passing, for losing to Jordan
didn't they
twice.
score like 60 points in a finals game?
Yes,
Jesus.
they lost to Jordan twice. I think his assist record alone puts him above D tier.
I
And
was
I
gonna put him
think-
like C, maybe higher C.
I think Dominique's
he-
still better. I like Dominique over
I
him.
think you put him above McAdoo though.
But I think, yeah, I'll put him above McAdoo because that longevity, he spent so much time with the Jazz. I mean,
Yeah, he's him.
next up, we've got Erving, not Kyrie, but Julius. He spent time on the Sixers and the Nets used to be, but his best time of his career was with Philly. 11 seasons. He made an All-Star team in every season. He was amazing. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 1.8 steals, 1.5 blocks. Just
He was him.
amazing. He won a chip there. He won 4 MVPs. Like, I think he's at least a B tier based on what he did for them.
I think B tier is probably good enough. I mean, a lot of stuff he did was, ABA stuff before he joined the Sixers.
Yeah, if you
So, I mean-
count the ABA stuff, I think he would go a little bit higher up. But
Yeah, but I think where you said is about good for him.
I'm gonna
So
go
complete.
below Dirk.
Yeah,
So I
would say
really
so.
do like Dirk. Next
really
up,
likes
we've got, unfortunately, the Hornets GOAT, and obviously the Hornets are not very good. We've got Kemba Walker, 3-time All-Star. That's it.
I mean, you gotta feel bad for the Hornets because they should have gotten.
Unfortunately,
Well, the Bobcats at the time, they should have gotten AD. I don't know why Adam Silver didn't just let them win the lottery to get AD, but he didn't. Because he was
Hey.
mad, yada, yada, yada.
Kemba's a great
Kemba-
player, but I mean, like, just
Well,
the
yeah,
lack
but
of
we're
much.
comparing him to, like, Kobe. You know what I mean?
Like, he was never. I would say he was never a top 10 player in the league, unfortunately. So
He was fun though.
he was fun to watch, but he's just not on the level of other guys like who we're about to talk about. Kobe Bryant spent his entire very illustrious career on the Lakers. 18-time All-Star, 5-time NBA champion, 15-time All-NBA, four-time All-Star Game MVP, 1-time regular season MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, and he won an Oscar.
Oh yeah, no, that's what puts him above Jordan.
That's
to be
what
honest.
puts him above. S10 is quite easy. I mean,
Yeah,
you think a franchise player, Kobe's one of the first guys that come to mind.
I think maybe we can have our resident Lakers fan talk a little bit more about Kobe Bryant and his legacy to the Lakers.
Yeah, well, what's his legacy like?
Getting carried by big men. No, actually, Kobe Bryant is one of the best franchise players. I mean, 5 championships for one franchise. I mean, the only guy on here who did more than that, I think, is Jordan, unless I'm missing someone. But yeah, what was that?
Jay, it's only Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you think Lakers, you think Kobe. Kobe is the Lakers. He just really represents them and what they're about.
Yep. Rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. Next up, we got KG for the Timberwolves. Obviously, he's a champion, NBA champion, but that wasn't with the Timberwolves. But he won his MVP with the Timberwolves. He was the All-Star MVP, All-Rookie team, made some All-Defensive teams, made some All-Star teams, some All-NBA teams with them. Easily the best Timberwolf ever. I just think the lack of winning really affects them.
I don't know about KG, man. I mean, I don't know about him.
I'd say, obviously, MVP puts him above Dwight. I would say above Clyde. Above Bob, McAdoo, probably here. I think, I think he's better than Stockton. I mean, Stockton has the assist record, but, like, KG has that MVP, and, I mean, besides KG, can you think of anyone besides, like, Ant and Cat that have been meaningful for the Timberwolves? Like, the second best player,
honestly.
second best player on the list, Zach Randolph.
Oh yeah, no, okay, well, good for you, KG, man.
Sorry, Zach Randolph was the Grizzlies.
I
think
Ewing.
the Timberwolves' second best player is Cat. So, I just think KG's good enough to slip above Stockton, but not much higher than that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's just not great. Next up, we've got Kyle Lowry for his seasons on the Raptors. 9 seasons. Obviously, he won the championship there. A couple All-Star teams, All-NBA team. I would say he's better than Kemba because of the chip, but like, man, it's rough for the Raptors. True. You could honestly argue you could honestly argue at Kawhi's 1 season being on this list somehow. I mean, next up you got your white suburban dad's favorite player, Larry Bird. For the Celtics,
this is AJ's dad's favorite player.
You could have put Bill Russell here, but I just think I don't count that competition in as high regard. So I'd like to talk about Larry Bird, who played against some of the greatest players of all time. I mean, what can I say? He's 12-time All-Star, 3 NBA champ, 10-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, 2 Finals MVPs, 3 MVPs, considered one of the best shooters of all time. Probably the best shooter until one of the next guys on the list, Reggie Miller. But I think Larry Bird, when you think Celtics, you think Larry. I think he's A tier. I just think he's synonymous with the... actually, no. I think he's near Isiah Thomas.
You want to put him in B?
I think he's A. But I think he's similar to Isiah Thomas with an extra chip and 2 MVPs on him.
and an
I
extra
would-
Finals MVP.
I'm actually comparing him to Giannis.
Listen, man, I would put him above Giannis at this point.
I still think Hakeem's better.
Yeah, I think you could argue Hakeem was better.
But I think Larry Bird has had a very good career. Obviously, he's never going to be this because there was so many Celtics have so many legends. I mean, it's hard to be a legend, but he is possibly the best out of that bunch.
Well, it's easy to be a Celtics legend when you're white. You know,
I
it's
mean, you're
it's
not
easy
wrong.
to do that.
Next up, we've got one of the greatest players of all time, LeBron James, for his time on the Cavs. You could honestly argue he's a top 3 Heat player as well, and probably a top 10 Lakers player. But he is number 1 for the Cavs quite easily, with their next best being maybe Brad Daugherty, and he wasn't very good. He helped the Cavs to constant success. He won them their first ever championship. Made an all-star team every season except for his first, where he won Rookie of the Year, 2 MVPs, I mean, scoring champ. Like, what can you say? I mean, I think he's S.
Yeah, it's LeBron. I mean, I don't really have a comment about
Again,
LeBron.
I think Kobe being in the Lakers for longer and accomplishing more puts him above. Obviously, I think LeBron's better than Kobe career-wise, but Kobe means a lot more to the Lakers.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, if you're looking at LeBron's numbers, he was All NBA first team on the Cavs in 2006, 2008, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. All NBA first team every single year.
And his best teammate was Kyrie, and when he didn't have Kyrie, his best teammate was Big Z.
Respect Zildjiris Ilgauskas, all right?
The GOAT,
Although
the
he
legend.
wasn't very good. I mean, he was great, but he wasn't like...
Next up, we got one of the brothers. We got Marc Gasol. Again, Grizzlies, as I said earlier, for the Timberwolves, but Zach Randolph's their second best player. Marc Gasol's their first. Marc Gasol is known as a brilliant defender, great defender, but he's also the only guy to somehow win Defensive Player of the Year from the second team, but hey.
Because they wanted to take it away from LeBron.
I mean, 11 seasons and just defensive menace, but again, it was the Grizzlies. 3 All-Star games. He finally won his chip with the Raptors, but doesn't count with the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, I think his career plays out very similar to, like, Kyle Lowry. But I think he puts up better stats to either put him top of F or bottom of D.
I don't know. I just think Kyle Lowry has all, like, the points for his team and, like, the assists for his team and, like, triple-doubles for his team. Marc Gasol was great for, like, 3 All-Star teams.
Well, that's the same amount as Lowry. Actually, no. I'll put him below Lowry because Lowry did get that chip, even if he wasn't the best player. He still got the Raptors their first ever chip. Next
I
one's
wonder where this next guy's gonna go.
Next one's possibly the easiest guy on this list. Michael Jeffrey Jordan spent every single season except for his 2 seasons on the Wizards, which no one talks about. We don't talk about that. On the Bulls, my team, 14 All-Stars, where 12 of them were on the Bulls. 3-time steal champ, 10-time scoring champ, 6-time NBA champ, 6-time Finals MVP, 5-time regular season MVP, 9-time All Defensive, Rookie of the Year. I mean, like,
he was pretty good.
He's the greatest. He
was pretty good.
He's Michael fucking Jordan. If you were thinking of a guy that means the most to a franchise, who have the Bulls had besides him? You had Derrick Rose, who ended in tragedy. I'm talking about, like, besides that era of Bulls basketball with Jordan and Scottie, you had Derrick Rose, which ended in tragedy. You had Artis Gilmore, who no one remembers because it was the fucking 60s. And then you have, Zach LaVine and DeRozan. Yeah, Jordan made the Bulls who they are. he's the best. Next up, we got Nikola Jokic. Career's still quite young, but spent all his time in Denver. Won them their first ever chip. Young compared to these other legends. I mean, most of the legends on here have retired. He's got 2 MVPs, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, won them their first ever title, including being the Western Conference MVP and the Finals MVP on that run. And, I mean, it's always the story of him getting taken during that Taco Bell ad in the second round. He is one of the biggest underdog stories in NBA history, and I think he could end up in S tier one day, but for now, I think he's up in A tier above Giannis.
Putting him right next to Giannis is probably a good idea.
I think he's done more than Giannis with that. I just think the assists and
the triple-double.
I don't know. It's just, I have him above Giannis, but like they're very similar with where they are at their career at the moment. If they keep on their track, they could easily overtake these two guys, and one of them could move up to S tier.
I mean,
if Jokic can get another 2 chips.
I almost said Embiid. Jokic could win 2 more MVPs.
If Jokic wins 2 more MVPs and 2 chips, I mean, he easily jumps up to S tier. He possibly gets. I mean, yeah, who's the next best player for the Nuggets? Carmelo Anthony. Like, it's kind of
respect the original shot chucker.
Next up, we got one of the oldest. I think it is the oldest player on this list. Oscar Robertson, Big O, the original point guard. Spent the majority of his career on the Cincinnati Royals, who became the Kings. So we're gonna count it. We count if name changes and all that. I mean, 10 seasons. He has the Kings record, I believe, for points and assists. And he also averaged. He was the original Russell fucking Westbrook. I mean, 30, 10, and 8.5, and that's only what we can record. We don't know his steals and blocks because they didn't record that back then. So we just know that it was 30, 10, and 9 basically, which is ridiculous numbers. He was an All-Star and an All-NBA player every single season. He won a chip with them. No, sorry, he won his chip with Milwaukee, sorry. So he doesn't have the chip with the Kings, unfortunately.
Listen,
but he won an MVP, and he's got to be
plumbers though.
Yes, but like those numbers are ridiculous.
Like,
you got to take
Westbrook into that era.
Yeah, but you got to take 50. You got to take the era and everything out of it. You think of Kings basketball, and I mean, there's no one else that you'd really. I think the next best Kings player coming off the top of my head would be Chris Webber. Like,
yeah, hey, respect Chris Webber.
Chris Webber was cool, but like,
Kings Big O robbed by the refs. Should have beat Kobe.
Big O, in my opinion, is A tier. Just because of how dominant he was. He was called Mr. Triple Double. I mean, the next player to be called that. You put him high B?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll make the argument at least that he's top of B. He was him. He was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the guy that the Knicks had to rig the lottery to get, Patrick Ewing. Spent his entire career, besides his last 2 years, which don't really count because they were awful, with the Knicks. He made the Knicks the Knicks. Everyone back then was rooting for him. Unfortunately, he was drafted around the same time as Jordan and was constantly overshadowed by a lot of the other guys on this list. Jordan, Drexler, Hakeem, like, most of these players on the list played at the same time of him and just kind of overshadowed him. But 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive. He was good, but like, overall, he never brought a chip to New York.
Well, no one ever does that, so.
No one does it, exactly, but I just think...
Broad New York.
He's B tier, in my opinion. because I think he's better
Yeah,
than Dominique.
I'd say putting him in
I think
B
he's
as
better
well.
than Erving. Then it's an argument.
I'll put Isiah Thomas over him. Just,
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I think Dirk's chip was great,
Isiah
but
Thomas got kind of cucked by Jordan.
he did. They all kind of got cucked in the end.
Really.
Next up is Reggie Miller, who at the time was the best shooter in the league and is still regarded as a top 5 shooter ever. Really, he
was the best shooter of all time.
He's great.
So,
3-time All
until someone else on
NBA,
this list showed
5-time
up.
All Star. Spent his entire very long career with the Pacers, and never got him a chip. And one of his most infamous, he probably would have won the chip in that season with the Malice of the Palace, but they didn't because Ron Artest decided to jump into the stands and start beating people's heads in.
Ron Artest out.
But hey, he had a great career. He's one of the nicest guys. He does his commentary and everything. He's one of my favorite NBA players ever. He's just so humble and great.
Yeah, but he also said Derek White should be an all-star. So
Oh Jesus! Okay.
I
think the longevity and everything's great, but the lack of MVPs and chips. Ooh. I just think that he's C tier.
Yeah, I think C tier is probably good.
And I think he spent more time than. Ooh.
I think put him.
Bob McAdoo won an MVP, but I think Reggie Miller spent 4 times as long in Indiana as Bob McAdoo did with the Braves.
Yeah.
So I kind of think Reggie Miller slots in right there. He doesn't have the assist record of Stockton, but
No.
man, Reggie Miller's
doesn't have any records anymore. Curry took all his records.
yeah, basically the things he was good at, Curry's just better. Next up, we've got Mr. Triple Double 2.0, Russell Westbrook. Again, this was a tough decision. You could argue putting KD here, but he left before Westbrook did. You could even argue Gary Payton, but I think Westbrook was the better player overall. 11 seasons with them from the time they turned to OKC all the way until he finally bowed out in 2019. An all-star in every season except 3, with one of them being because of injury. Mr. Triple-Double, he won that MVP where he was averaging a triple-double. He was in the finals twice with the Thunder. Lost both, but he was there. 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, but one of the All-NBAs and All-Star were with Houston, so 8.
Yeah.
I think the lack of success is obviously a big question mark.
I mean, he kind of got unlucky. They probably would have won the finals against the Heat if it wasn't against the Heat. You know what I mean?
I just think that the lack of much makes me only C tier.
I think C tier is probably good for him. He's Mr. Stat Pad. His stats are awesome, but you look at playoff, there's not a lot of
I will make my argument. I love Reggie Miller, but I think he's better than Reggie, but I don't think he's good as Stockton with that record.
Yeah,
that assist record
I ain't never
with
seen
the
Reggie
Jazz
Miller
is
average
just
triple
crazy. Next up, we've got Chef Curry, again, one of the guys who was drafted by the Warriors and never left. I mean, we've all watched Curry's career play out. 9-time All-Star, 4-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, 1-time Finals MVP. I mean, hey, he means a lot to the Warriors. Before the Warriors had Curry, they were bad. They were bad.
Yeah, but he also likes feet, though, so we got to take that into account.
He's again automatically cut out everywhere below B and cut out. Yeah. I would say S tier.
Yeah, I just think the number of championships.
I think.
And his MVPs, he had some fantastic offensive seasons. I understand
ranking all time. I would probably still put Hakeem above him as player-wise, but I think the success of Curry just... Look,
Kevin Durant probably never comes if Curry doesn't help them become
Curry
the best
was already carrying them to
Yeah.
greatness until Iggy. Again, in my personal opinion, Curry deserved that MVP over Iggy. But
Nah, Cap. No, I didn't. Iggy MVP.
next up, we got Steve Nash, who, again, for the Suns, this could have been Chuck, but Steve Nash had 2 MVPs, fraudulent MVPs, but they were MVPs. I mean, what is it now? I think he's 3rd in assists. I don't know, but he's got a lot of assists. He spent 10 seasons on the Suns. He's averaged basically 14 and 10, I mean. But no silverware besides the MVPs. I think automatically that makes him worse than Westbrook.
Worse than Westbrook?
Yep. So I just think...
He got 2 MVPs. I know
he's got one more MVP over Westbrook, but you got to think he never he spent less time on the Suns than Westbrook did on the Thunder, only by 1 year. But Westbrook averaged his triple-double for an MVP, and he was dominant.
I know the MVPs were fraudulent, but like Westbrook.
All right, well then, which side of Stockton?
I would put him below Stockton, just above Westbrook.
So Stockton's just our line now. Are they better than Stockton or worse than Stockton?
Yeah, they're all worse.
Next up, we've got Tim Duncan for the Spurs. Again, another guy who got drafted by the Spurs and spent their entire career there.
Big fundamental.
All-star teams every year from 97 to 2011, except for 99. I mean, hey, he was Tim Duncan, man. Tim fucking Duncan.
I think we all know where we should.
2 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs with his 5 championships.
I think we know where to put him, Smasher.
He's S tier, but
he's S tier, man.
I'm arguing which side of Kobe. Yeah, I think he might be over Kobe. Like,
he's over LeBron too. The 5 chips is crazy.
Wow. He is. I mean, a lot of those. They got rid of David Robinson, and who comes to show up and save the day? Tim Duncan. They lose Tim Duncan. Who shows up to save the day? Hopefully, Wembanyama.
Wemby.
Yeah, crazy.
Wemby's going to be on this list one day, and he's going to be sitting in A tier right below Dwyane Wade.
Next we got Wes Unseld. Again, a very old player, but also MVP in his rookie season. No one has ever done that before. He also won the Wizards/Bullets their only ever NBA championship in '78, and won Finals MVP. He's a very small center. I remember he was 6'7", but man, could he rebound. 5-time All-Star, won All-NBA team. He's a weird one to rank. Because I
don't know about him, man. Smasher, you're gonna have to take this one.
That rookie as an MVP is ridiculous, and winning a finals for the Bullets being their only ever finals is crazy. But that in between, he wasn't really that good. His stats aren't great. I mean, like 14 and what? So his best season was probably what? 16 and 18. He rebounded a lot, but I mean, it's really tough to rank him.
Gotta put him somewhere, man.
I think his stats, winning the chip makes him better than Dwight. I think better than Bob McAdoo. I think he goes there. I think he goes roughly just above Bob McAdoo. But that's our tier list of NBA legends of a franchise. Obviously, there's going to be some controversy. Let your frustrations out in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.
By the way, if you got all the way to the end of this video, comment Smasher Bum so we know.
Really? You fucking...